Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Suez Town Council, Tuesday, December the 14th, 2021, at 2 p.m. in council chambers. First of all, I need an approval of the agenda and any late items, Mrs. Hilson? No, okay. Could we have a approval? Thank you, Councillor Rhodes, Councillor Bennett. All in favor? Thank you. And the next is the adoption of some minutes, the regular open minutes from November the 23rd, 2021, and the special open minutes, a public hearing from December the 7th, 2021. Could I have a motion, please? Councillor King, Councillor Rhodes, all in favor. Thank you very much. No business arising, and so now we're going to do something quite special. Employee service recognition. Very good. I'll wear it till I'm over here and then I can't. Okay, so every year we recognize some of our employees who have got long service records. And this year we have 7 of them. So we would like to ask Jim Zackel, please, to come up and accept a special card for you. And 20 years of service to the town of Vesuvius. Thank you very much. And next we have Mrs. Dennison. Good. I usually say Dennison. I was corrected. And Sarah has 15 years of service to the town of Vesuvius. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Oh, and it was 15?
Yeah.
And we have one for Merlin Wimmer, who is not here today, but he has also had 15 years. Can I give it to you? Sure. 15 years of service to the town. Thank you very much. Oh. So, and we also have John Mura, who has 10 years of service with the town. CJ and I were just saying that we remember when it was his first day, and it seemed like yesterday. Anyway, he's not here either. I think he would prefer to have somebody give it to him, right? Okay, so we'll keep that. And oh, we have 2 others people who might show up, so we'll wait and see if they do. And Amy has been with us for 5 years. So thank you. And well done. For Neil Paget, if he shows up, because he has 15 years, but we'll leave it here in case. And Dave Steen, yes, and he has 15 years. So we'll just leave them right here in case they show up. So congratulations to everybody. Thank you. Okay. Next is public hearings, water matters.
I don't believe there's
I
a
don't think
report.
it's in there.
No, there's just no report.
Oh,
It's just the bylaw for consideration.
okay, all right. The bylaws, and this would be the water rates and regulations amendment bylaw, and we just need a motion to adopt this bylaw. Thank you. 2, that would be Councillor Marina, Councillor Appleby, all in favor. Thank you. And then we have the water district rates and regulations bylaw. And we need Councillor Appleby, are you moving that? Thank you, Councillor Marina, is seconding that. That bylaw, water rates and regulations be adopted. All in favor? Thank you. And then correspondence. It's the Okanagan Basin Water Board highlights and stop.
Yes.
Sorry.
That's all right. Let me just stop for a sec and. Show you one of those camera too. Okay. Dave, we'd like you to come up here, please.
Yeah, sorry.
That's all right. And congratulations on 15 years. You have to stand over here because the camera's got it.
There we go.
And 15 years of service to
Awesome.
the town. And
Well, thank
thank you
you. I
very
appreciate
much.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
No,
Thank you.
So
Yeah,
Dave-
sorry.
Dave doesn't seem old enough, but his wife was in my kindergarten class.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I appreciate it, guys. There goes Joe.
You'll have to
Thank
put
you.
that on.
Yeah, have a good day, guys.
Oh.
Hey, Neil.
Hey, Dave.
Yeah, you started right when I did.
Yeah, I got you by about a month, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
How you doing? Hey, hey, Joe.
So you're late, Neil, but never mind.
I'm not late. I was not informed.
Oh.
I was just on the job site when I got a phone call. So
Well, good, you have to stand here because
I
you're on
gotta stand
camera.
here. Oh, okay.
Yes, and we'd just like to say thank you for 15 years of service to
Already?
the town. Already. I
Well,
know,
thank you very
there,
much.
there you are. Thank you very much.
You bet. I'm more full year, but.
Oh,
almost
yes, you
actually.
will.
15
Oh,
months.
yes. Yes.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Okay, so we're back on to Okanagan Basin Water Board, and at our last meeting on December, I think it was the 7th or something, we had Lisa Scott from Oasis come and speak to us about invasive mussel prevention efforts. And actually, several of the boats that were tested at the borders, and there were several that were mussel fouled. In other words, they found mussels on them. And I can't quite remember how many, it says on another report, but they did testing at the end of people's docks. And they had these substrate monitors put in, and they would drag them up every once in a while and check them. And fortunately, negative for mussels at this point. So we're certainly hoping that the efforts of the water board for sure continue to write letters to the federal government and the provincial government, trying to make sure they realize that this is an absolutely crucial thing to make sure we don't get these in here. Because if we do, we'll end up like Lake Winnipeg, which is pretty awful. The beaches are pretty awful. So there are don't move a mussel and make water work final reports, and those are available on our website there. And some very good water education guides, our relationship with water in the Okanagan, and those have been given out to the school districts in the province, and they're quite enjoying reading about that. And the CEO was at a BC Select Standing Committee on Finance and Government. And it looks pretty positive that we'll get $1 million a year for 5 years to update the Okanagan Lake regulation system, which is looking at the dams and the streams that come in and the water levels and how we can better manage that. So it was a good meeting. So could I have a motion, please, to accept the report? Thank you, Councillor Bennett, Councillor Rose, all in favor. Thank you. Okay. And too many places for me. Let's see what's on. Desert Park RV site, Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. At the 2021 budget meeting on January 28th at the Sonora Community Center, staff presented a capital report for the RV site improvements at Desert Park. Council passed the following resolution that the Desert Park RV site upgrade project be on hold pending a business plan and a renegotiated operating lease. At the August 24th meeting, council approved the partnering agreement with the Desert Park Exhibition Society and the town of Vesuvius. Following the approval of the partnering agreement, staff initiated a request for a proposed to upgrade the RV site. Under the new agreement, the society will repay 75% of the actual cost of the upgrade amortized over 20 years. The current agreement was approved for 10 years with an option to renew for an additional 10 years. We received 8 proposals in total and only 2 of them are on the budget. The overview of the work includes removing all existing water and sewer infrastructure and installing new services, which will include 14 sites, which is 3 new, and an upgrade to the electrical service. The proposals were reviewed by the Director of Community Services, Director of Operations, and Interior Purchasing. The highest ranking proponent was Andres Construction, who submitted a bid of $106,465 plus applicable taxes. In terms of implications for the community, the upgrade to the area will improve the aesthetics of the park and will provide an enhanced RV park for potential special events. Organizational, just town overseeing the project. The budget, the approved budget of $200,000. Under the new agreement, the society will repay 75% of the actual costs of the upgrade amortized over 20 years. The current agreement was approved for 10 years with an option to renew for an additional 10 years in order to achieve the repayment. Additional costs include the procurement, design, engineering, and management of the project. Significant dates. The request for proposal identify that the project will need to be completed by April 30th, and Andres Construction has identified a completion date within that time frame. And sustainability. The enhancement of the RV sites will assist the Desert Park Exhibition Society to continue to operate the park for many years. And for options, number 1, the council award the contract for the Desert Park RV site upgrade project to Andres Construction Limited for the price of $106,465 plus applicable taxes, and that the town signatories be authorized to enter into a contract for the work specified in the RFP document. And option number 2, for council not to award the Desert Park RV site upgrade project to Andres Construction at this time. And the recommendation is number 1. As stipulated in the agreement, the society has been making payments since September 2021 in anticipation of the RV park being operational this spring. The agreement is based on the RV park improvements being completed.
Thank you very much. Mr. Davis, go ahead, Councillor King.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Can you just explain to me what you mean by upgrade the electrical services?
The electrical service that was listed on the RFP would be up to a 600 amp service. Currently, there's 200 amps there, and in order to run any kind of high-end device like air conditioning, you would need at least that 600 amp service as per the specs.
And then does each RV stall get upgraded besides the main box?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's correct.
Thank you.
You making the motion?
Yeah, I'll move option 1.
Thank you. Councillor Rhodes is seconding that. Any other questions or concerns? Good. I'm glad it's a local company too. That's important. All in favor? Thank you very much. And next is Mr. Zackel, property business interruption crime equipment breakdown insurance.
Thank you. So town's property business interruption crime and equipment breakdown insurance is set to expire December 30th, 2021. The town received 2 proposals from MIA, which is Municipal Insurance Association, and Intact Public Entities Incorporated in partnership with Capri Insurance, who is our current provider. In the proposals, the original deductible was $5,000. MIA came in at $105,656. Intact came in at $113,847 for a difference between the 2 bidders of $8,191. With MIA's proposal, they also requested that they get a 3-year commitment, as well as have the town do a replacement cost approach appraisal for the properties that are being insured. That cost was gonna cost the municipality $15,000, which MIA instructed us that could be paid over the 3-year period at a 0% interest rate. So taking into account the requirements of MIA for their bid plus the cost of the appraisal, and dividing it over 3 years, they still come in as the lowest bidder of the two companies. So the level of service received from our current provider has been nothing but professional, and they have provided the municipality with opportunity to save money in the past. Over the last couple of years, the insurance market has become quite volatile when it comes to costs associated with insurance renewals. MIA's bid proposal is $1,357 to $3,191 lower than Intact's bid. The costs associated with MIA's requirement for replacement cost approach appraisal, and that's what I'll explain, was paid by MIA. Increasing the deductibles was another option we were looking at as far as trying to see if there was any savings that we could realize. Increasing the deductible from $5,000 to $10,000, we'd only see a savings of $1,890, and likewise increasing the deductible to $20,000 would see initial savings of $3,779. So that in hindsight, if we were to experience one claim during the year, the effect on the cost of insurance would be as follows. So the cost of insurance, what we would see with one claim under the $5,000 deductible, our cost of insurance plus the deductible claim would be $110,000. If we were at a $10,000 deductible, it'd be $113,766. And under the $20,000 deductible, we'd be paying $121,877. So it's not recommended that we go with any higher deductible than the $5,000. Under the implications for community, ensures the town's insurable infrastructure is covered by insurance in case of unforeseen circumstances. Organizationally, no impacts. Budget is increasing from $98,700 to $110,656 with the MIA bid, or $113,847 with the Intact public entities bid. Significant date, the coverage is set to start December 31st. And the options before council, we have 4. So for council to accept MIA's bid for property, business interruption and crime and accidental death and dismemberment for a period of December 31st, 2021 to December 31st, 2024 with a $5,000 deductible. Option 2 is to award to MIA with a $10,000 deductible. Option 3 is to award to MIA with a $20,000 deductible. And option 4 is for council to accept Intact public entities bid for property, business interruption, crime, accidental death, and dismemberment for the period December 31st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. And staff's recommendation at this time is option number 1. MIA is a very reputable organization that represents municipalities, so very comfortable with that. We also checked the references that they provided. They got back to give a positive as well.
Thank you very much, Mr. Zackel. So we need a motion. He's on the board. So, all right, could we have someone else make a motion? Thank you very much. You're moving option number 1.
Yes.
Thank you. And so it's moved and seconded that we go with option number 1. Anybody else? Anybody have any concerns? Good. All in favor? Thank you. And I agree, Myers. I know you go way more about it than anybody else, so we're happy to have you as part of the team.
So I just show that I accuse myself from voting.
How did you get on the board? Was it council didn't appoint you? You chose to.
MIA asked him.
You had the opportunity to run to be a director, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, there's an exemption from the conflict of interest rules for positions appointed by the municipality. But so we will record that you did not participate in the discussions of your position as a director.
Or vote,
Did not vote. and
okay,
Could return to the meeting.
or just in case, right? So this affects everybody around the whole province, so this could be, because MIA is all over. So
Yeah, well, they
we've
got probably, what, they have
representatives.
15 directors in total. That's a variety of staff positions and elected
Yes, yeah. Okay. Okay, thank you. All right, next, we have Chief Courtmeyer. You're talking about the mutual aid agreement, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Through you to rest of council, I'm hoping that council will consider entering into an agreement with the South Okanagan Similkameen Fire Mutual Aid Agreement that the Regional District of Okanagan Similkameen has forwarded on to us. The agreement was approved by the regional district at a board level on July 22nd, 2021, and we received it kind of late on December 6, 2021. Mutual aid agreements are great for bringing additional equipment personnel to participating member communities where that help and assistance is required and needed through emergency incidents. I'm hoping that council approve recommendation 1 that we enter into the agreement starting January 1st, 2022 and expiring December 31st, 2022.
Good, thank you. We have been doing this already and when necessary, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Okay, Councillor Bennett, move that, option 1. Second, yeah. Anybody have any questions of the chief? No? I think we're happy to participate, so all in favor. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, chief. So we have the noxious weed control service establishment bylaw. This is Hilson.
Thank you. So the RDOS has given 3 readings to the noxious weed control service establishment amendment bylaw and the nuisance control service established amendment bylaw. The RDOS sent the letter to the town from their manager of legislative services, which explained the purpose of the 2 bylaws, which is to increase maximum requisition limits to maintain their current levels of service. So overview, the noxious weed control service establishment bylaw was adopted by the RDOS in 2001 and then was amended in 2011 to increase the requisition limits to their current levels. A staff report from the RDOS states that the purpose of the bylaws is to provide for weed removal and prevention and to educate and public relations. The staff report further stated that the report for nuisance control service establishment bylaw was adopted in 2003 and amended in 2009 to make it a regional service. And the amendment to the bylaw increased the requisition to its current level. The nuisance control service establishment bylaw establishes the funding model for the starling control program. And starlings were first sighted in the Okanagan between 1952 and 1956, and they are intelligent and adaptable non-native birds. They eat and damage tree fruits, grapes, and berry crops, and they spread disease. And they are an aggressive bird, and they cause an estimated $4 million in damages to vineyards and tree fruits in the Okanagan on an annual basis. A team of professional trappers use ethical and humane practices in carrying out trapping for each of the 3 funding regional districts who participate in this program. So the 2021 requisition rates from the RDOS for their invasive species noxious weeds was $5,067, and their proposed 2022 rate is $5,050. The 2021 nuisance control was $2,037 in 2021 and will be increased to $2,145 for 2022. So implications for the community is that the RDOS noxious weed control service establishment bylaw educates the public and helps eradicate noxious weeds surrounding the town boundary. And the RDOS nuisance control bylaw helps limit the population of starlings in the area and the damage they do to agricultural products. Organizationally, working with RDO staff on public education and noxious weeds and invasive species. Budget, the town's noxious weeds requisition is reduced by $17 in 2022 from $5,067 in 2021. And the nuisance control requisition will increase by $8 from 2,037 in 2021 to 2,145 in 2022. Significant dates, council should pass a resolution providing consent on behalf of the electors of the town of Osoyoos, so the RDOS board can consider adopting the two bylaws in a timely manner. Sustainability, the town of Osoyoos is working with the RDOS to eliminate noxious weeds and nuisance species from the town and surrounding areas. So options before council are option 1, that council consent on behalf of the electors of the town of Osoyoos to the adoption of the Regional District of Okanagan-Snoqualmie Noxious Weeds Control Service Establishment Amendment Bylaw number 2065.02/2021. 2, that council consent on behalf of the electors of the town of Osoyoos to the adoption of Regional District of Okanagan-Snoqualmie Nuisance Control Service Establishment Amendment Bylaw 2001-98.02/2021. Or that council does not consent on behalf of the electors for the adoption of the RDOS's Noxious Weed Control Bylaw Amendment Bylaw. And number 4, that council does not consent on behalf of the town of Osoyoos electors to adopt the RDOS's Nuisance Control Service Establishment Amendment Bylaw. Staff are recommending options 1 and 2 in separate motions so that council consents on behalf of the electors for both bylaws.
Thank you very much. Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Member Ford. I'll move the staff recommending option number 1.
Thank you. Is there a seconder for that? Thank you, Councillor King. Any questions and concerns? All in favor? Thank you very much. And would you like to?
Now move option 2.
Option number 2, that's Councillor King. Is there a seconder? Thank you. Councillor Harvey is seconding that. Any concerns about that one? Good. All in favor? Thank you. That's carried. All right.
Good, just great, your worship, thanks. After lunch.
She's looking for a pen to throw.
Okay, so next is boundary expansion. Is that,
That's me.
who's that one? Mrs. Hilson.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. So as council is aware, town and staff have been working on the proposed boundary expansion of the 8 subject properties. So there's 5 on 87th and 3 properties on 45th since April of 2019. So in 2021, at an earlier meeting, council passed a resolution to proceed with the boundary expansion. And then at the regular open meeting on June 22nd, council passed the resolution to direct staff to proceed with the 2 separate boundary AAP process, the electors of the town of Osoyoos. And it went till August 9th of 2021 at 4 p.m. and there were no elector response forms received for either boundary expansion. And so at the regular open meeting of August 10th, council passed the resolution that the town of Osoyoos has obtained the approval of the electors, petition the Minister of Municipal Affairs to extend the boundaries of the town of Osoyoos. So in a letter to the Director of Development Services dated December 7th of 2021, the Ministry of Municipal Affairs confirmed the boundary extensions for the town of Osoyoos with copies of the Order in Council OIC number 631/2021, which was approved and ordered on November 22nd of this year. The OIC issued 2 sets of letters patent, one which amended the town of Osoyoos municipal boundaries to include the 3 parcels adjacent to the southeastern, which would be the Lakeshore Drive boundary, and 5 parcels adjacent to the northwest boundary on 87th Street. And it includes a map, which is Schedule 1 to the letters patent of the town of Osoyoos, which describes the town's new boundaries. The second letters patent are for the RDOS, which formally transfers the jurisdiction of services in the area of the boundary expansion from the RDOS to the town. So section 781B of the LGA requires council to publish in a newspaper either a copy of the letters patent or a synopsis that states where the letters of patent may be examined. And a copy of the proposed notice is attached for council's approval and consideration. The Ministry of Municipal Affairs has published a notice in the BC Gazette pursuant to section 781A of the LGA, which was in the December 2nd edition of the Gazette. and a copy of the notice is included for council's information. A joint statutory declaration signed by the mayor and the corporate officer must be submitted to the Minister of Municipal Affairs in order for the minister to ascertain whether a revised municipal population for the purpose of the RDOS voting and grant allocations is required, and a copy of the notice is included for council's information. It should be noted that under the LGA, the bylaws of the town of Osoyoos extend to the additional areas and continue in force and effect unless altered or repealed by council. The exception is where a specific bylaw has been adopted by the RDOS for the subject area, and this would include the RDOS's zoning bylaw. This means that the RDOS's bylaws apply to the area of the extension, and they are in full force and effect until either it's amended or repealed by council. The town's Planning and Development Services Department will need to update the town's OCP and zoning bylaw to include the new properties. So options before council are that council directs staff to publish the notice of the boundary extension that was included in the December 14th agenda package in the Times Chronicle as required by section 781B of the LGA. 2, that the mayor and corporate officer be authorized to sign the statutory declaration to certain revised municipal populations for the areas described and authorized in order of council number 631/2021, or that council requests further information prior to making a decision, and staff are recommending options 1 and 2.
Thank you. In separate motions?
Yes, please.
Okay. So Councillor Rhodes,
Thank you, Member Cordell. I'll move staff recommend adoption of the one.
thank you. Councillor Bennett seconding that. Any questions or concerns? Okay, all in favor? Thank you. And could we need a second motion? Councillor Harvey, will you make that one? Thank you. Option number 2. Councillor King, seconding that. Okay, all in favor? Thank you very much. I know it says in here in the report that that we've been talking about this since April 2019, but my recollection, it probably was 10 years earlier that it was even started. And every time there's a civic election, the people on those properties say to us, can we vote yet in the town? Nope, not quite. So they will be able to the next time. So thank you very much. That's good news. Next is the DO report. Is that you, Mr. Chabot?
Certainly, as your worship.
Thank you.
This report is in regards to renewal of regional tourism marketing fee for service agreement that the town has had with Destination Osoyoos and the RDOS for some time that expires at the end of this year. Under the current agreement, Destination Osoyoos agrees to provide tourism marketing services and operate the visitor information center at the intersection of Highways 3 and 97 in Osoyoos. The annual funding from the town and the RDOS has been $75,000 and $12,000 per year, respectively, for the past 3 years. Destination Osoyoos is a designated recipient under the province's municipal and regional district tax program, where up to a 3% tax is applied to sales of short-term accommodation provided in participating areas of British Columbia on behalf of municipalities, regional districts, and eligible entities. The MRDT revenues provide funding for local tourism marketing programs and projects. Tax is intended to help grow BC revenues, visitation, and jobs, and amplify BC tourism's marketing efforts in an increasingly competitive global marketplace. Affordable housing was added to the permitted use of MRDT funds in 2018. Designated recipients have the flexibility to define, identify, and fund affordable housing initiatives as being appropriate to meet local needs. Affordable housing funding must be consistent with fiscal prudence, and accountability be subject to additional reporting requirements as determined by the province if the recipient wanted to use a portion of the funds for that. The replacement agreement attached to this report is for a 2-year term that covers 2022 and 2023. And it's recommended that a new agreement be developed for years beyond in conjunction with efforts by DO to renew its authority to collect the MRDT, which current authority expires on September 1st, 2024. The renewal to collect the MRDT will require accommodation provider support, a 1-year tactical plan, and a 5-year strategic business plan that are prepared in accordance with MRDT principles and are subject to provincial approval. The town of Osoyoos is one of 14 municipalities in BC that are designated resort communities under the province's Resort Municipality Initiative. One of the eligibility requirements of the RMI program is that each community has in effect MRDT for tourism marketing and promotion. Under the agreement, Destination Osoyoos maintains and undertakes the necessary reporting for the MRDT and assists the town to develop, implement, and report on tourism programs, services, and capital investments funded by the Resort Municipality Initiative. The Resort Municipality Initiative provides funding to the town for the provision of tourism programs, services, and capital events. And for the past many years, and more recently, the town's been receiving about $450,000 a year to invest in tourism infrastructure programs and services. The province would like to see a 70% split on capital, 30% on programs and services, and we've been complying with those directives. Destination Osoyoos has reviewed the draft agreement that is included with the report, and after approval by council, they'll send it to the RDOS for their approval. In terms of implications for the community, continued funding for local tourism marketing programs and projects to help grow Osoyoos' revenues, visitation, and jobs, and amplify BC's tourism marketing efforts in increasingly competitive marketplace, and continued operation of the Visitor Information Center. Organizational, continued eligibility for the RMI program, collaboration and partnership with Destination Osoyoos to improve the visitor experience and grow the local economy. Budget, the town has included funding of $75,000 per year for this in its financial plan. Significant dates, the agreement will be effective January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2023. Sustainability, it supports continued efforts to grow the tourism economy. The options are that town council approve the agreement between the town, Destination Osoyoos, and the RDOS for 2022 and 23. That the agreement number 2 is that the agreement not be approved, or number 3, that council provide direction respecting an alternative fee for service agreement for tourism marketing and operation of the Visitor Information Center.
Thank you very much.
We included a track changes version, so if council had an interest, they could see changes that were made to the agreement. They were mostly modest. One of them reduced a reporting requirement at the end of August that seemed unnecessary, and DO thought that as well. The agreement requires them to present operating budgets and the marketing plan for each year, for the council to consent to that as well. And then a final financial report. We moved the dates back for financial reporting, a little easier for them to have completed their bookkeeping, and if they chose to do an audit, to meet those timelines as well.
Thank you very much.
On
Go ahead.
option 1.
Option 1. Council Rhodes is seconding that. Any concerns, questions? All in favor? Thank you. That's nice to have that completed. Next is the acting mayor's appointments, and is that Mrs. Hilton?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Thank you.
So in November of 2020, council adopted the council procedure bylaw number 1367. The council procedure bylaw and the community charter require council to appoint a member to act in the place of the mayor when the mayor is absent or otherwise unable to act, or when the office of the mayor is vacant. So the council procedure bylaw states that annually in December, council must from amongst its members designate the councillors on a rotating basis as the member acting in place for the mayor. The acting mayor appointments must be made by a council resolution. And so the recommended 2022 schedules included in the options for council's consideration. The council procedure bylaw provides for circumstances where the mayor and acting mayor are unavailable, council will choose a member to preside over the council meeting. If a councillor is unable to take on the role of acting mayor for their scheduled month, they need to inform the corporate officer, who will then bring a recommendation to council for their consideration of appointing another councillor in their absence. So in October 15th, 2022, the 2022 municipal election will take place. The town's council procedure bylaw states that following a general local election, the first meeting must be held on the first Tuesday in November in the year of the election. And so the inaugural meeting of council for 2022 will be on Tuesday, November 1st, where the newly elected council will appoint the acting mayor for the remainder of the 2022 term and then the 2023 calendar year. So implications for the community: provides leadership in the absence of the mayor. Significant dates, the acting mayors must be appointed by December 31st, 2021 for the coming year. And sustainability continuity leadership. So options before council is that the following acting mayor appointments be made for 2022. Or two, that the acting mayor appointments for 2022 be as follows, and council can make any changes for the months they wish. So staff's recommendation is option number 1.
Thank you very much. And I know that Mrs. Hilson checked with all council and asked which months were appropriate and if there was any concern. So thank you. Would somebody like to make a motion?
I move option 1.
Thank you. Councillor Rhodes is seconding that. All in favor? Thank you very much. Thank you, Mrs. Hilson. And would you like to do the next one, the
Yes.
regional library board?
Thank you.
please?
So council must appoint a representative to the library to be a library trustee and an alternate to the Okanagan Regional Library for each year. And it's for a 1-year term. So the annual appointments to the library board are made in according to the BC Library Act. And the ORL board meets regularly 4 times a year. And when the board deems it necessary to have any additional meetings. Typically, the regular meetings are held on the 3rd Wednesday in February, May, September, and November of each year, except for when a municipal election is held. So in an election year, they meet in October and they would cancel the November meeting. So this means for the 2022, the dates are February 16th, May 18th, August 31st, and October 5th. The meetings are held at the library headquarters in Kelowna, and the library pays members' expenses. Currently, due to the pandemic, all meetings have been held virtually. The ORL board requires representation from the town of Osoyoos, and council appoints an alternate if the representative is unable to attend. Staff have spoken with Councillor Harvey, who's been the representative for the past 2 years and would like to continue. And councillor alternative was Councillor Bennett, who has agreed to stay on as the alternate. So implications to the community is the towns, the taxpayers of Osoyoos have a voice on the OLR board. And the town council has a voice on decisions that could affect the residents of Osoyoos. So options before council are option 1, that Councillor Harvey be appointed to the ORL board with Councillor Bennett as their alternate. Or 2, council can choose a different councillor or mayor, or the mayor to be appointed to the ORL board, or mayor councillor as their alternate. And staff are recommending option 1, that council appoint, well, I'm not going to really make a recommendation, but council can appoint one of its members to serve as the town.
Thank you very much. Is there somebody who'd like to go ahead, Councillor
I
Kane?
move option 1.
Councillor Rhodes is seconding that. All in favor? Thank you very much. I know Councillor Harvey's been quite involved with the library board. Have you ever been to a meeting?
No.
No.
That's why I agreed with me.
I didn't know Councillor Harvey was doing it.
It's pretty easy.
It's pretty easy.
Good, thank you very much, both of you. Okay, next is the general net payroll and Sunbowl Arena financial accounts. And to report on expenditures from accounts payable and payroll information as of December the 14th, 2021. General cash requirements are $795,350.83. And Sunbowl cash requirements of $14,450.58. And net payroll accounts of $110,051.82. So the options are to receive the general cash requirements as referenced above, or number 2, to request additional information. We have a motion here on this. Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mayor McCarthy. I'll move option 1.
Thank you very much. Is there a seconder? Councillor Bennett. All in favor? Thanks, everybody. Okay, next is the building report, and it looks quite healthy, doesn't it? We have a few fixers ups of suites and bathrooms and a demolition and that type of thing, but the Peanut Lake Development has building 2A Phase 4 and building 5B Phase 4. So those are pretty big ones. So it's nice on a single family home. Yeah, so 3,363,000 for this month with a total to date, and one more month to go, of 28,587,200. And last year we were a quarter of that, 7,900,000. So that's been a pretty busy year for everybody. So could we have a motion, please, to receive the report? Councillor Rhodes, Councillor Bennett, all in favor. Thank you. And now bylaws and the revenue anticipation borrowing bylaw. Mr. Zacco,
Thank you, Mayor Recordo.
thank you.
So this one's revenue anticipation borrowing bylaw 1377/2021. And this is for council to renew the line of credit with the Bank of Montreal and also to have secured funding for the corporate MasterCard for the town. So section 177 of the community charter allows a municipality by bylaw to establish a bylaw to provide for the borrowing of money in anticipation of revenue. This bylaw authorizes the municipality to borrow up to $1.5 million to meet current expenditures and pay amounts to meet the municipality's taxing obligations. This line of credit is set up with the Bank of Montreal. If this operating line of credit is used, the revenue from property taxes must be used to repay the borrowed money. In 2021, the town did not use the line of credit at all. That's a consistent message that we've had over the last 20 years. Bylaw is also required to have access to the corporate MasterCards. So community allows for operations to continue until funding comes in for taxation. Organizationally, there's no impacts. Budget, there's no impacts. Significant dates, new bylaw to be adopted in January 2022. And sustainability, fiscal management. So options before council, option 1 to give first read readings to revenue anticipation borrowing bylaw 1377/2021. Option 2 to defer the adoption of this bylaw, and the recommendation is option number 1.
Thank you very much. We're always happy to support this one because it's never been needed, right? Councillor Rhodes,
Thank you, Member Recordo. I'll move option number 1.
thank you. And second, that Councillor King. All in favor. Thank you very much. And next is the sewer fees amendment bylaw. And what we need is a motion to have this bylaw adopted, right? We already had first 3 readings. Right, so is there someone who would like to move the adoption of this bylaw? Councillor Bennett, Councillor King, all in favor? Thank you. And a similar type of bylaw, that the sewer connection and regulation bylaw be considered for adoption. So could we have a motion to adopt that sewer and connection regulation bylaw number 1374/2021? Councillor Rhodes, Councillor Harvey, all in favor? Thank you. Animal control licensing bylaw. And that's consideration for adoption. So that would be bylaw number 1316.02/2021. So someone like to move the adoption of that bylaw? Thank you. Councillor Rhodes, Councillor King, all in favor? Thank you. And the municipal ticket information amendment bylaw consideration of adoption. Councillor Bennett, Councillor Harvey, all in favor? Thank you.
Sorry.
Sorry if I missed that.
No, who moved the motion, sorry?
I don't know, pick one.
That's on motion.
We've done 4 of them recently. They just, try to spread them around. Okay, so did you get all of those, Mrs. Miller?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So the next one is the zoning amendment bylaw consideration of 3rd reading at 8,000 Cottonwood Drive. And I just had asked Mr. Chabot if he would just sort of clarify this a little bit, as it was a little confusing at the public hearing. So exactly what we're voting on. Thank you.
Okay, your worship, before council is the for consideration of third reading is zoning amendment bylaw number 1085-140-2021. Council will recall a public hearing was held respecting the proposed zoning amendment bylaw last week on December the 7th. The minutes of that public hearing are included with the agenda and were adopted earlier in today's meeting. This is a proposal to amend the zoning for 8,000 Cottonwood Drive from CD7, a zone which permitted a mix of residential and commercial type accommodation units, a restricted licensed establishment, a restricted restaurant, and some retail sales. That CD7 zone would have permitted up to 171 units on the subject property. The new CD11 zone is a purely residential zone. There are no commercial uses, accommodation or otherwise proposed. No short-term rentals would be permitted. And it is for the completion of 58 residential units on the property there. The public hearing and the concerns there mostly centered around issues of increased traffic, the lack of a secondary emergency vehicle access or egress on the north end of Cottonwood Drive currently, and concern about the amount of parking to be provided. And so council wanted a little bit of time just to think over what they heard during the public hearing, to think about this application and amendment. It's noted that if approved, the development would include a portion of dedicated right of way, and the intention is to develop secondary emergency vehicle access between Cottonwood Drive and 45th along the boundary of the Inkavik campground. There was talk about whether or not a marina would be permitted, and the applicant indicated that they would like to have an answer to whether or not a marina could be constructed, probably before they pull the trigger on the development. And that's obviously a consideration for them. Director of Planning has indicated that she would be supportive of discharging a restrictive covenant that prohibits the placement of a marina on the site. And if a marina were to be built, it would require a separate public hearing to amend the designation under the foreshore and lake zoning bylaw, which currently designates the foreshore and the undersurface body of the water to the municipal boundary as public access and public use, not for strata moorage or group moorage. So that was interesting. That's a separate process that council will have to undergo if it wants to entertain the opportunity for there to be a strata marina on this property. So don't want to get too confused by that. This is about whether or not you're supportive of the land use, which is 58 residential units of different types. There's 6 single family homes. There's a number of townhomes, and then there's, I think it's 36 units
Yes,
in a condominium apartment style building.
thank you very much for that explanation. I think that's quite helpful. So what we need now is consideration of third reading for the zoning amendment bylaw 1085.140/2021 to be heard a third time. Councillor Rhodes, Councillor Bennett. Did you have a question, Councillor Harvey? No, okay. All in favor of the motion then? Against, no, okay, great. Thank you very much. That was carried. There's, as far as I can see, there's no new business or reports of committees. We're now waiting for the CAO's report.
No, your worship, wait no longer. I'll keep it as brief as I possibly can. It's been 3 weeks since our last regular meeting.
I think it
I
has.
think so.
Yeah, we had the public hearing last week, but other than that, we've had a good long break. For myself, as per usual, dealing with some human resource and personnel matters, reviewing council reports for committee of the whole and council agendas, participated with the director of finance and director of corporate admin in a review of the real property and equipment insurance proposals. Those are difficult things for someone like me to read and make sense of. Takes a special individual to insure policies, which we all know that. Participated in the kickoff meeting for the active transportation network plan project, couple weeks ago, I guess. Also, we met with True and we reviewed a draft of the East Side Sector densification servicing capacity analysis study. And hopefully we come up with a longer name for the next one. That is a report that looks at the ability to service development, infill and growth on the east side of the community, including the planned developments on the Osoyoos Indian Badlands. And so we're gonna meet with them, I think it's next week, or maybe it's later this week, to review. They've been provided with parts of that draft and review it, and then it'll have to come to council for consideration. Also been in conversation with the UBCM and the Ministry of Children and Family Development after the decision to not proceed with the Osoyoos Child Care Expansion project, and talking to them about the requirements and the ways to go about doing a child care needs assessment and a child care strategic action plan for the community. I've prepared a capital budget report that will come to council the next time council visits the budget and the financial plan, probably early in January. They recommend funding for such a study to put us in a place where we're able to take advantage of future grant opportunities and to better identify the community's needs and the long-term solutions for the provision of childcare in Osoyoos. So while we're all disappointed that that project didn't proceed, I think we'll be in a better place after completion of the study, and hopefully we can get this thing rolling. Council approved a replacement fee for service agreement with Destination Osoyoos for tourism marketing. Community services, they had a jingle bell run, and it was in conjunction with a number of events in the community around the holiday season on December the 4th. They had approximately 100 participants, and they're planning to do that again next year. The Elf in the Park program is into week 2. There's a clue given as to where you can find the Elf in the Park on Brock Jackson's show, and our community recreation programmer is on, I think it's 8:10 on Thursday mornings. And then there's a clue is posted also on Bounce Radio's website, not on the town website like our instructions say. I looked for it today, couldn't find it. But anyways, people can enter, they take a photo, they give their name, they say where they spotted the Elf in the Park. They're entered for a draw for a prize. There's $50 weekly, and then at the end there's $100 draw as well. So it's kind of fun for people. I'll take young people to go see this. Winter program and activity guide will be out this week, and registration for winter program starts on Thursday. On Saturday, December 18th at the Sun Bowl Arena, there's a free family skating event. Starts at 2 p.m. Folks are invited to come for a skate. You'll be required to provide proof of vaccination for persons 12 and older. Masks will be required, but it should be a good, fun family event. There's hot dogs and hot chocolate and public skating. Corporate services, it's been largely all about human resources for the director for the past quite a while. Also been preparing, there's a number of annual reports that statutes and the procedure bylaw require, so you've been seeing quite a few reports from the director as well. There's training sessions. We brought on a number of replacement staff, some for fixed terms, some for part-time casual, and staff training is scheduled for later this week for those new employees. A reminder, our offices are closed with the exception of the Sonora Center. And is the Sun Bowl open as well? But all other facilities are closed between Christmas and New Year's. Going to close around noon on December the 24th and open up at 8 or 8:30 in the morning on Tuesday, January the 4th, I believe it is.
Yeah.
We're making arrangements to try to return bikes that have come into the town's possession. There's a bit of a stack of them up at the operational services. I think there's been information in the newspaper and asking people if they have a means of trying to identify their bike. We'll find out if it's theirs. The idea is to get bikes back to their lawful owners before we dispose of them either by auction or otherwise. I think in previous years, they were given to Double O Bikes, who works with not-for-profit sector, and so it benefits folks with a need in the community. That's likely what will happen with most of these. Bylaw enforcement's been busy, dogs at large, unsightly premises, cleaning up roadways that over time can become de facto storage areas for people's excess equipment and things. Been having some pretty good success with that maybe. Financial services, reviewing accounts to the end of November, preparing and providing information to the auditors as requested for the annual audit. Returned the child care space creation grant funds to the UBCM. Working with the RUS to receive the funds from a MFA debt issue for the rural water training project, the amount of $1.5 million change. Updating the budget and the financial plan, and that'll come sometime in January. Fire department is continuing with training. November 24th, they had training in transitional fire attacks, which involves exterior water application as crews prepare to enter a structure for extinguishment. Exterior water application resets the fire clock, reduces the potential for dangerous conditions to present themselves, makes it safer for trapped persons and for firefighters. December 1st and 8th training session involved 5 new recruits who are continuing the training towards exterior certifications. The more experienced members continued with emergency scene management. December 4th, there was a weekend elevator rescue course with 11 people participate. November 29th, they attended at a labeled as a basement fire. I think it was a fire in a basement crawl space / storage area. They managed to contain the fire to the area of origin, and the cause is being investigated. Importantly, next week on December 15th, the fire department is hosting a food bank drive at the fire hall, different than previous years when you could go door to door. Folks that want to make a donation are requested to come to the fire hall. They can drive through the bay, make their donation. I think they receive a small token of their appreciation. I can't recall what exactly.
Cocoa, I think.
Yeah, I think you get a hot chocolate or something. Maybe
Is
you
that
can.
the 15th or the 16th? Because I've seen both dates. I know that.
This says the 15th, which is Wednesday. That would make
That's when they
sense
were
that it would be
there.
the regular.
I saw it on the
practice night.
16th too, and I was confused. Okay,
And Corey said tomorrow.
it's tomorrow? Okay, good, tomorrow night. Thank
So
you.
it's the 15th tomorrow night. Between 7 and 9 p.m. And we've 5 members have passed their probation as of tomorrow. They get their pagers and begin to respond to call outs, and then we've got that brings us up to 29 firefighters. And there are 5 new recruits who are going to join the department in January. Planning and development, still getting development inquiries for vacant properties along the Hotel Row and in the downtown. Interestingly, we're getting inquiries for food trucks in their location during the winter season, which would be interesting to see and see how that works. The public hearing that was supposed to be held as part of today's meeting for the draft new OCP has been postponed and will take place sometime in the new year, likely towards the end of January. Continue to get new business license applications. Earlier, you noted, Your Worship, the value of building permits, and year to date for today, the values are $30,497,200, and for the full year 2020, it was $8,492,000. So, remarkable growth in investment in the community. Operational services. Unfortunately, yesterday, bacteriological testing required us to put a boil water notice on a portion of the community where the water twinning activities have been taking place. There's information on our website. I believe our crew went door to door handing out a notice to the affected residents as well. We find this really unfortunate. We know how inconvenient it is for folks and apologize for that. We're going to take the lead in the advice of Interior Health in these matters and take them all rather seriously though. So as people will note, the domestic water system twinning rural water district 9 work is continuing. It's taken much longer than anyone had hoped. There will be some unrepaired road sections that will affect the contractor to maintain in acceptable driving conditions until the spring, when they can actually complete the work and lay down some asphalt to fix those areas. We've had a little bit of snow and ice control. Fortunately, we haven't got a great deal of snow yet. But that's part of the course, I guess. Nice to get a practice run without a great big heavy snowfall. You will note the seasonal light installations. The town looks very nice. Thanks to our crew for brightening up these dark days. The Soyuz Lake water main crossing, the directional drill under the channel has been completed. 2 pipes were installed. One will get in service after it's been pressure tested and bacteriologically tested. And the other one is for future use. And so it won't be put into service right away. I mentioned the east side servicing capacity review. The improvements to Legion Beach, the tender has been released and it closes January the 19th. Reviewing Main Street concept designs, and in particular, the detailed design for improvements between Park and Kingfisher. Looking at that, a draft review is there. That again will come to council in the future. There's some proposed changes and some improvements would really spruce up that area and sort of set a standard for the remainder of Main Street, perhaps. The fleet assessment. Final report will come to council in January 2022, and the U-scale and office trailer project is moving forward. Should be completed in the first quarter of 2022. Mention the active transportation plan and the kickoff meeting that's just underway, and we're still waiting on receipt of a main breaker and a meter panel, and for Fortis to connect the streetlights on 150. And we really always got this done. Your worship, that's it for me. Best wishes for a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to all of yourself and council. It's been a pleasure to have the opportunity to work with you all.
Thank you. So could we have a motion, please, to receive the CAO report? Councillor Rhodes, Councillor Bennett, all in favor? Thank you. Now, council report. Councillor Harvey.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't have a report today.
Thank you. Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Member Cordell. Was able to attend the regional district meeting last week. I was hoping to be able to bring back all kinds of meaningful information for our community, but regrettably there was nothing that affected our community. The meeting was very short, less than an hour, I think, hour and a half, somewhere in that range. And yeah, but it went well. Everything they were experimenting with some new visual technology and sound technology in the room. But there was a few bugs, but it went really well. Also like to wish Merry Christmas, best of the season to our mayor, my fellow councilors, and all of the staff, not just the ones that are in the room there. And Happy New Year to everyone.
Thank you very much, and happy birthday to Councillor Rhodes today.
Well, thank you again for reminding me of that.
Okay, thank you. Councillor King.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd just like to wish everybody out there a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And thanks to all the hard work the staff does to keep this town moving forward. Thank you.
Councillor Bennett.
Sorry, mine's a little bit longer.
That's fine.
We go all day. On November 24th, school district 53 regular meeting. Rob Zandi was remains as chair of the board, and Casey Bauer, who worked for the town, as the assistant vice chair. And we want to congratulate, of course, the Soyuz Travelers provincial high school champion team. I'm sure tomorrow night's meeting will be exciting. And it's nice that Amy, that works for the town, as her daughter, and a few other people that are related to the team. On November 24th, 25th, I attended the board meeting in Vancouver for the Municipal Insurance of BC. And a record number of new communities have joined the property program due to stable rates, even in the hard market. One of the parts of being on MIBC is being on the claims committee, it's quite interesting in realizing how what's happening in the province. Lynn, for example, is not only a major disaster, but after it's over, now you're starting to see the real scope of managing the rebuild. The young lady that was announced position in the town was, I think, under 30, and basically her first job as a CEO. And so she's kind of had to take time off. The council's fighting, people are trying to help bring in contractors with no contracts. There's no control really over spending. I think the regional districts now kind of stepped in and trying to help them, and the previous Kelowna CAO is now in place, helping run things. A new CFO is now in place with years of experience in Chase trying to help out. So there's lots of concerns over breach of contracts, uncontrolled billing, problems with the town being billing within miles of 5 First Nations jurisdictions. So for our archaeological assessment meeting, that the top layer of all the land for health reasons has to be taken off in the town. But before they can do that, due to this got to be under the eyes of the appointed artifacts assessor. So this goes on. So we only see the outside views of the structure fire. So when these things happen, it's something we have to really remember of council, that you can really get yourself in a really spot, right? And so basically it's mirrors another example, bridges down. The one old bridge is the only way to get to one part of the town. And they contact the MIBC to get legal advice because they don't want to take a chance of taking the truck over. And if the bridge collapses, well, people are on the truck, or once they're across the bridge, and the flooding got worse, how do they get the truck back? And then they're all of a sudden, they have a contract with the town, and they're stuck on both sides. There's covenants on property. Oh, I'm sorry, this is the other one. So basically, there's other things like mountain bike claims, snow removal claims, covenants on property. One claim was one person swam from a town park, swam across the lake to a private property, climbed up and down and found private Collegiate in the Sound Regional District. So these are only a few of the claims, not including the present funding slides. So the big goal of the MIBC is with management plans, with tools like grants, with grants to develop management plans, policy wording, maintenance schedules, frontline brochures. So a person walks in and they're all upset about the weeds. The finance staff doesn't have to argue, and they just hand them a nice brochure and say, here, it tells you all about the weeds or sidewalks, that kind of thing. So it was quite interesting. I just wanted to kind of share that with you. December 3rd, we met with DO directors and local Richard County, who is a new federal tourism critic. We discussed concerns of the board in regards to our thoughts regarding local tourism. I guess it all comes back to labor and housing initiatives. We did mention that the national park is moving along with positive views between the feds, the province, OIB, and the lower Smoky Band. December 6th, we had the DO AGM. The new board elected Paul Skellen from Watermark Resort as the new president, and Rob Roush of Wake Pond as the vice president. And we all know, congratulations to them. On December 6th, we had the trail reopening and another successful meeting with the OIB. That's not a potential trail along the road. Other than that, I just want to wish everybody season's greetings and Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Keep us busy. Sounds good, Ben. So, yeah, we did hear that the OSS volleyball champions, the girls, came first in the province, and I was invited to go up there yesterday, but it was kind of late in the game, and I didn't get my message until later. So sent a congratulations to all of them, the coaches and the team, on behalf of council and the town. And I was at the mural dedication on beside the BMO parking lot, which I know that Councillor King and Councillor Bennett were part of, because it was Rotary that was very involved in doing that. And it's a local artist. Well, her grandparents are local, and her father and her uncle went to school here. And so anybody who remembers Dr. Shepherd in town, this is his granddaughter that did the artwork, and it's postcards through the ages for the last 75 years of celebrating Asui's 75th birthday. So it was very well done, and I was happy to be there. Christmas light up, didn't have a parade this year, but we did have quite a few other things on the agenda. And the Festival Society sort of coordinated all of the things on their poster, including the Sonora Center's what was it called, Jingle Bell Run, which was very, very successful for their first year. There was Market on Main at Market at the Legion. The following day, there was the East Side Market in front of Campo, and that was very well attended. It was kind of a cold, windy day, and when I got there, there were so many people there and so many cars that I thought, I don't think I want to be standing up in the cold this long. So I didn't stay for it, but I could tell that it was very successful, and there were lots of people enjoying that. We had a different try a different run of things this year. Not only did the Festival Society help out with Smitty's pancake or their special breakfast, free breakfast, which was well attended. Not quite as well as other years, but I think that some people apparently came in, ordered breakfast, and took it home with them, which seems to be happening in several restaurants, which is perfectly acceptable if that's what you would prefer to do. But also we had some activities in the plaza, and it snowed the night before. So the plaza was quite snowy, and there were some entertainers. Diane Ball and some of her little kids were there, and it was kind of interesting. Councillor King was there at that time too. And the generator that we had rented ran out of gas just before Diane was going to. So we actually took an extension cord, went across the road and into the gym. But I had orange cones on it, and I had people standing there to make sure that there was no problem. That was just one of the things that happened. And we also had a local choir, or 7 members of them, who sang songs, and also Matt Duffus, who has entertained often at Easter extravaganza. And so it was a first time effort for this, and Councillor King and Brian Rawlings from the Rotary went back to the church, made some cocoa and served that. So it was kind of a fun day, although it was kind of a new effort on our behalf. But this week, I've had teams of people going out, because I was in charge of this, to look at homes and businesses best decorated. And there should be a list in the paper this week. And Ron Hiller, who lives up the hill, is great with a drone and a camera. And he was going to go around and take videos of the winning homes and businesses and put them on the Asui's Festival Society website and on a Zoom. But and there were 5 homes and 5 businesses that were chosen, because I collated the ones from everybody's report, and they were very good. But I have to give special mention to a few people that have already won in the past, but continue to be absolutely amazing. And one is Jimmy Liebel on 2901 52nd Avenue. And if you have not been out at night to view this, it's a must. There are 2 others that are phenomenal. 4830 Highway 97. And the gentleman there puts up new additions every year, and it's phenomenal. And 5816 Oleander. Those 3 were not included this year because we were trying to include other people into this. But I'll tell you that it is a treat to go around this town at night and see all of the beautiful decorations and the amazing amount of houses that are very, very nicely decorated. And I also have to say, when we were looking at local businesses, I said, well, what about the town of Vesuvius? And they all said, I'm not sure that we could do that, Mayor. So I just want to say that the town of Vesuvius, our town property here and at 3 and 97, I mean, it's beautifully done. And we certainly appreciate, operational services for going above and beyond. I think it's terrific. So anybody who comes into this town it's a real treat to go around and have a look. So please do. And I just want to thank the Festival Society because again, they jumped up and took care of all of this. So they're terrific. So I'd just like to say Happy New Year and Merry Christmas to council and to our staff and to all the people in Vesuvius. And we hope that you have a happy Christmas this year and a healthy and calmer 2022. So thank you. So we will now go into the in-camera section of this meeting. And pursuant to section 91K of the community charter, the council meeting be closed to the public as the subject matter relates to negotiations and related discussions respecting the proposed provision of the municipal service at their preliminary stages, and that in the view of the council could reasonably be expected to harm the interests of the municipality if they were held in public. And section 91E, the acquisition, disposition, or expropriation of land or improvements, if the council considers that disclosure could possibly be expected to harm the interests of the municipality. So could I have a motion, please, to move